What is going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to the final episode of Talking Buffalo for 2025. Hope you all are doing well. I appreciate you very much for listening to the show, whether you're new, whether you've been around for a long time, whether you watch it on YouTube, whether you listen to it on Apple or Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from, which, by the way, if you're not yet following, make sure you do that. Even if you watch this on the video side, it really helps us grow. So just pause this if you need to. Open up that laptop, that phone, whatever. Search Talking Buffalo on Apple or Spotify or wherever, and just make sure you're following. It really helps us out. Big shout out to our sponsor, the law office of William Mattar. Heard in a car, call William Mattar, 444-4444. Call William Mattar today to get the compensation that you deserve. All right, folks, like I said, the last episode of the year 2025 midweek podcast, which means as always, not always, but as usual, because we move, sometimes I have you jumping around if, things play out a certain way. But my guy from SB Nation, one of my favorites, a big part of Talking Buffalo, especially over the last year and a half now, man. Matt Warren, SB Nation. What's up, buddy? How you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone. Yeah. Heading into the playoffs with the Bills, always a treat. I will not take it for granted every time we get a postseason berth, because I lived through too many years where we didn't. So I'm in a pretty good mood today after that Eagles game, despite the outcome. So yeah,
Me too.
Maybe it's the holiday season. I don't know.
No, I think you're right. And you bring up a good point, and I think that gets lost. You know what? It's actually a really good point, Matt. We do get lost in the fact, this season has been weird. The record's been fine. It's not even that they didn't win the division. It's that New England won the division. I think that just doesn't sit well with a lot of people. This was a team that just completely, New England I'm talking about, that lost Tom Brady, lost Bill Belichick, completely bottomed out. It was not long ago at all where, it was 12 months ago, in fact, where they almost had the first pick of the draft. Like, they beat the Bills in week 18, a meaningless game for the Bills anyway, and they're picking still, I think, fourth, and now here we are 1 year later, and New England has won the division. They're probably going to be the 2 seed. They might have the NFL MVP this year, by the way. After last Monday night, Matt Stafford's still probably favored, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Another loss for them. I don't know. But anyway, it's just I think the fact that it's New England that overtook the Bills is just, it's made it a weird season. But to your point, you're so right. Don't take this for granted. It's still fun. The Bills are in the playoffs. Let's not forget what 17 years was like for this organization and for this fan base. It's just been a weird season.
Yeah, and I still think the Bills are probably going to be favored in every AFC playoff game they play. So I'm just throwing that out there still. They were favored in New England a couple weeks ago and then won that game. If they end up going back to New England in the playoffs, I don't have a reason why they wouldn't be favored in that game again. And so that's just kind of what I keep looking at is I know that it's been a frustrating season, but I mean, the path is still in front of them. Like when the Bills got the ball back with whatever it was, like a few minutes left in this game against the Eagles, I'm like, they have the path in front of them. They can do this. They haven't really shown that they can win on the road in the playoffs. That's a different thing, but they have the opportunity to run the table and get to the Super Bowl. And, we talk about a weird season for the Bills being when they're in the wild card mix and, barely making the playoffs. Well, it's a weird season in Kansas City and they didn't make the playoffs. It's a weird season in Cincinnati. And it's not really weird for the Bengals. Sorry. Oops.
Right.
But they didn't make the playoffs. It might be a weird season in Baltimore and they don't make the playoffs. So the fact that the Bills were able to still get to a playoff spot in a weird year, I think is, a testament to Josh Allen in particular, but also I'm probably Sean McDermott's biggest critic among, a lot of Bills media. And I think he's done a very, very good job this year. I was one that was talking about replacing him for the last year or two, at least having the conversation. I was never calling for him to be fired or anything like that, but he's done a really great job this year. And I think he needs to get that credit from me and from everybody else for how they've put together this defense in particular this year.
I agree with you fully. We're going to, like we usually do, we're going to spend some time, we're going to get to it in just a couple of minutes here. We're going to go through the Bills positionally, discuss what we liked and didn't from this past game. As always, Matt will assign a grade. Maybe we'll talk some bigger picture stuff. We'll get to some Highmark Stadium finale stuff, playing the Jets, of course, this Sunday, 4:25 p.m. Probably the last game ever at Highmark Stadium. I'm not ready to write that in Sharpie right now, but we'll see. So we're going to get to all that stuff in just a minute. I do want to say this year, and I'm going to have a show tomorrow, by the way. So New Year's Day, if anyone was wondering, there will be a podcast. I'm doing a solo thing. And one of the topics that I'm going to spend some time kind of deep diving into is, and I want to get your thoughts on this. I don't know what's going to happen with the Bills come the wild card round. And it's easy to say that every year. This year, I truly mean it. Like, I'm telling you, I will not be the least bit surprised if they're the 7 or the 6 and they get to the Super Bowl. It won't surprise me. It really won't. Conversely, on God, I will be just as equally less surprised if the Bills get bounced by 2 scores in the wild card round. It would not surprise me. I do not know what to make of this team, of the postseason, the field in the AFC. I'll say this, 2021 through 2024, the last 4 years, I went into the playoffs expecting the Bills to get to the Super Bowl. Obviously, it'll be a disappointment no matter what. It's a disappointment whether you expect them to go to the Super Bowl or not. But the last 4 years, I have truly expected them to go to a Super Bowl, and it's been a surprise to me that they haven't. 2020, I kind of felt like it was, I'm not saying just good to be here, but like I was a little bit surprised they beat Baltimore and then they got to the AFC Championship game. Now, a lot of people would say I shouldn't have been surprised, and I'm not saying you'd be wrong. You could very well be right, but that was just me personally. I didn't really expect to go to the Super Bowl in 2020. 2019, I think it was just, hey, we're in the playoffs. Let's see what happens. We got a young Josh Allen, kind of played out the way it was going to play out. But anyway, the last 4 years, I've expected the Bills to go to the Super Bowl. This year, I don't know. They can go to the Super Bowl. Absolutely. But they can lose in the wild card round, and I won't be surprised. Whereas the last couple of years, if the Bills lost in the first or even second round, it was very surprising to me. Kind of feel the same way or no?
Yeah, I think both conferences are wide open. The NFC, like we just saw the Rams lose to the Falcons on Monday Night Football, and we thought the Rams might be the best team in football. You know, the Seahawks have Sam Darnold as their quarterback. Are they the best team in football? Like, so if you're trying to figure out who's going to make it out of the AFC or the NFC, it's wide open for everybody, including Buffalo. And so that's why I lean a little bit more toward the experience of the Bills than say Drake May and the Patriots, or even the Broncos with, Bo Nix. Like I lean toward the Bills because they've been there and done that. They are hopefully going to be resting up a bunch of people in week 18 to get healthy for this postseason run. And I think that's been the biggest hindrance to them this year, is it's just been so inconsistent because Allen's hurt or this guy's, injured and out for the game. Kincaid, let's talk about Dalton Kincaid or whoever you want to insert on the defense, whatever. So I do think that the Bills, it's wide open for them to make it, but it also wouldn't shock me to see them fall flat on their face again.
Part of the reason why I feel conflicted, where I'm like, I'm not going to be surprised either way it goes, is I do think this is the Bills' weakest roster from 1 to 53, I'd say the last 4 years for sure. Mm-hmm. So that lends me to think that, well, they're going to lose. But on the other end, there's no team in the AFC that scares me. There's really, truly not. I would not love to play in Houston. I would love to play in Baltimore, which what a gag job by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Holy shit, what a gag job by them over this weekend. But I am not afraid of them. I don't know what it is. I should be afraid of Houston because it's been a complete house of horrors now. Every time the Bills go there, like clockwork, it's just that offense doesn't scare me enough. Like the Kansas City Chiefs, man, I was like, I don't know if the Bills are ever going to get a stop on defense when we would play them in the playoffs. I mean, sometimes they did, but I didn't feel like they were going to. They could hold Houston to 20 points. The question is, can you get to 21? Which ain't no given with the Houston Texans, of course. You know what I'm saying. But anyway, yeah, I think the NFC is a stronger conference for sure. I mean, you got 3 teams in the West, Seattle, Frisco, the Rams. Any of those teams could get to the Super Bowl. Philly, 100% could get to the Super Bowl. That's 4 teams right there. Just that I would not be the least bit surprised. Who knows? We'll wait and see about Chicago. I think Green Bay is I think they're done without Micah Parsons. But yeah, the NFC, I think from top to bottom is definitely stronger. But yeah, man, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. Let me ask you another question real quick here. Kind of change directions, then we'll get into the show. Hell, it's the last day of the year. New Year's Eve, when people are listening to this anyway, are you a reflective person? Like, are you the kind of person that, like, say at the end of the year, do you spend a lot of time thinking about the past year, what went right, what went wrong, and just kind of self-reflective and looking forward to the next year? Or are you the kind of dude who, it is what you just keep pushing forward, no matter what? Are you that kind of person? Like, what kind of person are you when it comes to things like, say, New Year's?
Right. I'm not a nostalgic person in that way that you're asking, like reflectiveness for the last year. I don't look back at the last year like, oh, these are all the fun things we did. But I do have like goals. Atomic Habits by James Clear is one of my my favorite books. And one of the things in it, like we talk about SMART goals and like writing down your goals and setting progress dates and all that stuff. So I will do some of that in January, look back at the last year to make sure I hit my goals. I know I hit at least 2 of them, but I know there's a couple that are a little bit more nebulous that I have to really go back and look at. So yeah. And so I'll set goals for the coming year as well. Just like written out SMART goals. So just things that I can control and hopefully, do better in the new year.
I just want to be alive. I'll be happy with that shit. If Talking Buffalo is still going strong and you and I 12 months from now are still talking football, I think I will consider it
I don't usually write down the stay alive one, but yes, that's a good goal. Yeah.
Staying alive is a really, really good goal. I'm just joking. I'm very, very self-reflective. I'll spend a lot of time over the next couple of days thinking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of 2025 and kind of coming up with a plan to better myself. I feel like as I get older, I'm constantly looking to be the best version of myself. And I also kind of crave learning things. You know what I mean? Like when I was younger, I really didn't care. I don't know if it's because I'm getting old now and I feel like I just can't take years for granted anymore. Like when you're young, you kind of just, you're 32 years old and you blink your eyes, you're 36, you're 37. I think once you get to a certain age, you start to really lock in and I think anyway, try to be the best version of yourself. So that's what I'm working on. And also what I'm working on as we transition into last week's game, I am working on being more patient with Josh Allen truthers this week. The unconditional Josh Allen, it's never his fault. You can always blame somebody else more than him. He doesn't have enough help. It's the coaching. It's the general manager. It's so many other things. Dude, I'm telling you, I don't know. It's probably, maybe I'd have to go back to the Houston game last year where when Josh Allen, I just thought was maybe the worst player on the field in that one specific game. And fans came out of the woodwork and defended him. I get it. I understand it. I'm a Josh Allen fan. I said on the show yesterday, if you're watching this on the video side, Matt, I don't keep present Bills stuff in my studio, like on camera, with the exception of Josh Allen. Like I got a nice little Josh Allen canvas print of him scoring against Frisco, that diving touchdown. I am a huge Josh Allen, to use a wrestling term, a mark. I'm a Josh Allen mark. I love him. He's my favorite player in the league. He's probably my favorite Bills player of all time. And I truly, legitimately think he's one of, if not the best player in the entire NFL right now. There's not a quarterback in the NFL I would want on my team before Josh Allen. But that doesn't mean that he's not capable of having a lousy game. And you could point the finger at him and say, you know what? He's the biggest reason why the Bills lost this game. And I can't wait to hear your opinion because we're going to get right to the quarterbacks in our positional analysis. So, Josh Allen, 23 of 35, 262 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, 2 touchdown short rushes, lost a fumble. There were a lot of plays, in my opinion. I don't really feel like I need to go through all of them again. We'll see what you say, but he left a lot of meat, and I mean a lot of meat on the bone. And I don't think, man, people are killing the kicker, and we'll get to that. My opinion, Matt, is that he's the singular biggest reason why they lost this specific game. I thought Josh Allen, by his standards, was straight up lousy in this game. I want to get your opinions and your takes.
The whole game was a Rorschach test for the Bills and Josh Allen. If you wanted to find good in that performance, you can. If you want to find bad in that performance, you can. And that goes, like I said, for both Allen and the Bills as a whole. And really the last 3-4 weeks have been that. Like, you can just find what you want to find in there. The reason I think people tend to come to Josh Allen's defense more than anything else is because he's probably the one piece that can't be changed at all. Outside of Terry and Kim Pagula. So, everything else can be manipulated and changed, but you're linked to Josh Allen irrevocably. And so, I'm not going to say it's like a coping mechanism, but in a lot of ways it is. Like, you know that this is the guy going forward no matter what. So it has to be somebody else's fault so that you can believe that he's like the best player in the league, which I agree with you. I think he's the best player in the league. He did not have a great game, but I don't think he had a bad game either. I gave him a B for this game, and we can talk about this after I go through my other stuff. He definitely missed a 2-point conversion. He couldn't get his feet under him. It was a bad throw. I've seen all the memes. I mean, there's like a bajillion memes on the internet right now making fun of Josh Allen missing Khalil Shakir on that 2-point conversion, and it's earned. He was super pissed off at the end of the game, talking to reporters about it. Like, we got the 2-word answer, Josh Allen again. Just got to do it. Just got to hit it. Like, we got that guy again, which, I mean, maybe it's good going forward that he's pissed. I don't know. People have been accusing him of taking his eye off the ball all season. So maybe this is like him coming back to it, but he was also playing on a bum foot and his stats are pretty okay. He scored both Bills touchdowns, had 290 combined yards. The fumble, I don't think was a fumble. I think it was a forward. His arm was going forward. So I'm not going to ding him too much for the fumble, even though it was probably the biggest reason that they lost the game. He had 262 passing yards and Jalen Hurts had 110 in the same conditions. So it's like, if you're going to ding Josh Allen for 262 passing yards, what are you saying about Jalen Hurts and his 110? Like, was he like an awful quarterback? Does he get a D- for this game? He did hold on to the ball for too long with those 4 sacks. But I also think that the offensive line didn't do him any favors, and neither did the receivers. Tom Brady did a really nice job of explaining it, which, by the way, Tom Brady, great job in this game. I was very impressed with Tom Brady as the color analyst.
Me too.
He said some weird crap about, Allen's booty and
big
like
booty.
The one glove thing was very awkward. I don't obviously the OJ memes out there as well. But I think that Brady did a nice job of explaining when Allen wasn't doing well, but also when he was doing his best with what he was given. And so even if you just watch the broadcast, I do think you have a pretty good idea that Allen left a lot of meat on the bone to what you said before, but also he was the reason that they scored 2 touchdowns. And I don't think it's a stretch to say that without him in that game, plugging in Mitch Trubisky, I don't think the Bills are even close to winning that game. So balancing all of that out, I give him a B for this game. And, hopefully he can be healed up for this playoff run.
Well, I'm going to give him a C-.
Okay.
So we're clearly on different pages here. That's okay.
It's the Rorschach testing. Like I said, like if you want to, not to say that you're looking for negative stuff.
I know what you mean.
But like, if you can definitely pull arguments in either direction based on what we saw on Sunday.
No question about it. Now I'm going to give you a silver lining. You brought up something with your comments. He was pissed.
He was.
If there was any consideration that maybe Josh is a little too robotic or contempt this year, that is out the window. They may or may not win in the wild card round or go on to win the Super Bowl, but it is not going to be because Josh Allen's fire isn't burning. That dude is pissed at himself, and there ain't shit that me, you, Joe from Queens, any Bills fan, anyone could say that's going to piss him off more than he's already pissed off at himself over just that one play and missing that one throw. I'm telling you, that could end up being a good thing for them. Well, here's what I will say. The Shakir play aside, The fumble play, which may not have been a fumble, which did lead, by the way, to Philly's only touchdown the whole game, a 45-yard drive on that play. Jackson Dawes is wide open. Throw the ball to him. Or throw it away. He held on for it. He was pump faking too much. That 3rd and 8, and I'm just going to go through a couple plays real quick for you because I don't want to rehash everything all over again midweek.
Dawes was definitely open on that play, and I tweeted it or skeeted it at the time. Like, just drop it. Drop it over the top, man. Like, get 5 yards and live another day.
3rd and 8 from the 27. Ty Johnson chips, comes out to the left. You hit him. If he doesn't get the first, if he doesn't beat one guy and get the first, worst case is 4th and 2 from like the 20, 21-yard line. You got a decision to make. You can either go for it from there, or you could try it. I'm not going to make it sound like it was a sure thing by any means, but you got a 39-yard field goal attempt. But Josh Allen ran around like a lunatic, just silly on that play, and literally took points off the board. Yep. The play where in the end zone on 4th down when he went for it, and man, you watch it on all 22. Oh my God. Brandon Cooks, Joe Brady, we'll talk about him, man. Brandon Cooks is out in the right flat. He's got the escort block from Dawson Knox with the guy who's already 3 yards in the end zone. That is a walk-in touchdown. It's a walk-in touchdown, even after he had to escape early because somebody came in early, but he escaped. Mm-hmm. The Josh Allen I've known the last few years is making that play. He sees him, he throws it. He knows it's supposed to be the play. It's a touchdown. He decided after he made the first guy miss and he pump faked once, he was running the ball. He thought he could get in. He ascertained.
He made that decision early, yes.
He made the decision early that he was going to be able to score, and he didn't. So there's that. There's the Brandon Cooks would-be touchdown where he had him. Brandon Cooks, I think it was Mitchell. He smoked him, and Josh threw it to the outside shoulder when clearly it was a post to the inside. So there's that. There's other things too. So he's too good of a player to miss as many times as he can. So here's my question for you. This is actually a question. Are you a little bit concerned? Are you seeing a Josh Allen that's, and by the way, also Cooks and Shavers had magnificent individual catches that weren't necessarily great throws. It was the receivers making a play on the football too.
Finally.
Exactly. Hey, he got some help. Good for him. Good for Josh. It's great that he actually got some help. But again, for the he never gets any help crowd, this ain't the game to build that case. That's all I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
But are you getting a little concerned? Like I said, not throwing it to Haas on 2nd and 2, not dumping it off to Ty Johnson on 3rd and 8 and seeing what happens. I kind of feel like Josh is starting to hold the ball and he's looking deeper and deeper and deeper in the plays instead of doing what worked so often last year when the offense felt unstoppable. I'm a little concerned about the Josh Allen that I'm seeing lately.
Well, we've talked repeatedly about how when he's patient and takes what the defense gives him, great things happen. And this game that didn't particularly happen, I don't think it's necessarily a long-term problem because we've seen over and over again where he'll have a game where he does that and he'll take the dump offs and he'll take the 8 yards instead of going for 80, And so it really goes game by game. It doesn't worry me long-term. No. I think he's going to get hit right in the head right before, like in these 2 weeks leading up to the wild card game. So it does not worry me.
Yeah. All right. I'm with you. Let's get to a couple other. Some of these we'll start to get through quicker too. Yeah. So we're not here all day. But I mean, the quarterback is obviously the most important position and the most nuanced this past week, I believe. All right. Running backs. James Cook, 20 carries, 74 yards. Ty Johnson, 5 for 15. Ray Davis, 1 for 4. Cook had a catch for 3 yards. Davis had a catch for 12 yards. Came up limping after that play. We'll see how that goes in practice this week. Ty had 3 catches for 33 yards. Could have been more. Anyway, it was what do you think?
Yeah, it was tough sledding out there. And Cook under 4 yards, a rush. Davis at 4, Ty Johnson at 3. Like it wasn't great as far as. I mean, we'll get to the offensive line here in a second. And so I don't think it was a great game from the offensive line. I think it was probably a bad game from the offensive line. And that obviously is going to impact, the running game. It was nice to see them get involved in the passing game because they did a good job there and got decent return on their investment on those passing plays to the running backs. But I gave them a B-. They definitely could have done better. James Cook's still NFL rushing leader, so that's pretty cool. Just want to throw that in there.
40. All right. Quick little side question. He's up by 47 yards. I don't want to get into a lot of predictions because who the hell knows how Sunday plays out. He's up by 47 going into this last week on Taylor. Let's say Taylor gets 100 yards on the button this game, and James Cook needs 50 yards to win the rushing title. You think he plays Sunday? Think he's out there? Do you think they try to get him that rushing title?
I think he probably wants to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they will. They did it last year.
Yeah.
I mean, not for as much, but he needed 1,000 yards. He started the game. He needed a touchdown. They brought him in near the goal line last year to tie OJ's franchise record. I would not be surprised if he plays and they see how it goes. If it's a reasonable amount. Again, if he needs to have 120 yards or something like that, if Jonathan Taylor goes off, and they're playing at Houston. So if Houston's playing their starters, I don't think he's going to go off. But I can see it happening. One more, then we'll get to a quick break. Actually, let's go tight ends first here before the break. Okay. Not a lot. Well, Dawson Knox, 5 for 30. I thought he played well, actually. Jackson Hawes, statistically, receiving-wise, didn't have anything. Got dinged up, missed some time, came back in the game. Couple great blocks. There was one block. I mean, he took, I don't remember who it was, but it was some DB, and man, he almost drove him out of the stadium. He's becoming one of my favorite players, by the way. But anyway, no Dalton Kincaid. I don't know if it was precautionary or not. You know, if this was the last week, I'd be like, absolutely, it's precautionary. But him missing a game that I think they didn't want to win, they played to win. Him not being out there tells me that he wasn't healthy enough to go in this game. But anyway, tight ends.
I think the weather probably played a factor in that too. Like if he's borderline and you put him on that field with how wet it was, like it just leads, it's more likely to lead to re-aggravating the injury. And so I do think that at least played a part of the role. But they knew on Saturday that Kincaid probably wasn't going to go because they signed Latu on Saturday. So, the Dawson Knox 5 for 5, that was good. I really love that little, what's like the counter trap play where they do the play action with the pulling guard or whatever. And and then Knox comes over the top. Last week it went for whatever it was, 30 yards. This week he didn't quite have the same amount of separation. So it only went for 8 on one of those first pass catches that he had in the game. So, I like what I'm seeing from Dawson Knox right now. Obviously, that drop 2 weeks ago, notwithstanding, I'm still bitter about him dropping that touchdown catch 2 weeks ago. But no, I give them an A-. I really like what I've seen from Jackson Hawes all season, as you said. So they could have done a little bit better on the stat sheet, and but A- I think is a pretty solid grade for the offense scoring.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. I'm with you there. I think. Yeah, it's hard to forget about the drop that Dawson Knox had in Cleveland last week. But I'll tell you what, man, that aside, I think he's been pretty damn solid this year. Like, they hurt without Dalton Kincaid, but they could be hurting more. Were it not for Dawson Knox, they would be hurting even more. Let's do a quick break, come back. Gonna get to the wide receivers. Something that has not happened often, Matt. A wide receiver actually steps up. More than one did. Be right back. Matt Warren here from SB Nation. Today's episode, of course, brought to you by the law offices of William Mattar. All right, wide receivers. Brandon Cooks, 4 catches for 101 yards. I wanted this guy jettisoned out of Buffalo last week. I'll be the first to admit it. I didn't think he should be active last week, and then he drops a bomb. I felt justified. Today, I feel like an idiot. He brings an element that this team doesn't have. I was completely wrong about him. Just catch the ball. I kept hearing that. Well, he caught the ball. 4 catches for 101 yards. Very easily could have been 5 for about 150. Again, if Josh Allen makes a decent throw on a play where he had the DB beat pretty significantly. Tyrell Shavers, 2 for 36. Shakir, 6 for 35. Josh Palmer, just 1 catch, 12 yards. Gabe, 1 target, no catches. The 101 yards that Cooks had receiving, it's only the 3rd time this season that any Bills wide receiver has went over 100 yards. Shakir went over 100 against Houston in week 12. And
Coleman,
week 1. Baltimore, 114 yards. Most any receivers had all season. Go figure. Anyway, by the way, Coleman, healthy and active, 4th time this year. He's done. He's not going to play again. Mecole Hardman re-signed to the Bills practice squad. I think that's insurance at this point. But anyway, wide receivers.
Yeah, They had three really good plays. They had the Cooks going up and getting it late in the game. They had Shavers going up and getting it, although I think the ball hit the ground on that play, and they were right to rush up to the line and get a playoff. And then Shakir being open on the 2-point conversion was a really good play as well. So I think they had three really great plays, and then a whole bunch of not a lot going on. So Shakir had a third down drop on a screen pass that would have converted into a first down and kept a drive alive, went right through his hands. And Tom Brady's talking about plastic gloves versus leather gloves and all that stuff. Again, I think Tom Brady did a good job in this game, just throwing it out there. So I gave them a C+ overall, just because, two great catches and being open on the 2-point conversion are very good, but the rest of it was just like a nothing burger to me. And so whatever. Maybe I'm being too hard on them, but I gave them the C+.
Well, I think the Shakir drop on 3rd and 1 is significant. If you weren't going to ding them, I was.
Yeah.
Because that was a big play. It was a bad call. I hate the decision. I don't know if that's Joe Brady saying that's the play we're going. I don't know if that's Josh Allen having an option to hand it off to Cook.
Convert, man. Like if he catches that, he just has to
the ball
forward.
Exactly. Catch the football, man. So he gets dinged for that. He can't have that kind of play. But yeah, all right, that sounds about right. C+. Brandon Cooks, though, promising. 3 straight weeks, he's gotten open deep. So, I mean, if you're saying, well, no one could get open, no one could separate, Brandon Cooks is doing it, man. And again, there was another big play out there for him to make, and Josh just couldn't connect on the throw. Offensive line, Josh Allen was sacked 5 times. By the way, career high, 40 sacks this season. 14 sacks last year, 40 this year. Oh, that's almost triple what he's got in this year compared to last year. Thought he was under duress more. I also think he got a little, and maybe it's because the offensive line's just not doing a good enough job. I don't know, maybe it's the opponent, but I also think there were times where Josh was getting rid of the ball a little. He was rushing things a little too much, maybe because he didn't trust the line. But anyway, 5 sacks, 3.6 yards per carry for the rushing game, so that's not good. I thought the guards, specifically Edwards and Torrance, were both brutal in this game. Now, look, Jalen Carter will make a lot of guards look bad.
That's fair.
But those guys just were not good enough. Deion Dawkins was okay. I was not impressed with this line. I thought this was a bad game. I'm pretty sure you agree.
Yeah, I ended up with a C- for them, but could easily be convinced to go lower if you want to go to like a D+ or something. Yeah. Edwards got beat 1-on-1. That was the play that Allen kind of tweaked his ankle on. Torrance got beat for a sack early in the game, just 1-on-1, whooped both of them. Dawkins got beat a couple times. Like they were 1-on-1 failures. It wasn't like, oh, we saw this stunt and they were able to create pressure. They blitzed and Buffalo didn't shift the line. I mean, I know Tom Brady again talked about that really, really well in the broadcast, but even in those 1-on-1 situations where it wasn't line calls, it wasn't blah, 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 they just got beat straight up. And so it was not a good performance by them. The running numbers attest to that. The sack numbers attest to that. Sometimes we talk about, it was the wide receiver's fault because Allen was holding onto the ball because there was nobody down the field. This time, I do think it was a lot of the offensive line.
All 5 sacks were 4-man rushes for Philly in this football game. And I didn't know where to put this number, and I'm going to put on the offensive line this game. I could have put on the quarterback. I could have put on Joe Brady. The Bills were needing 9 yards on 3rd downs for this game. That, to me, is an offensive line issue. I don't think they blocked well enough in the running game for James Cook, nor did they protect well enough for Josh Allen in the passing game. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that number on the offensive line. I thought, other than the Houston game where that was just hard to watch, this game was probably their second worst performance of the entire season. The defense, on the other hand, it's fun. This was not what I expected. I expected this to be a game maybe in the mid to late high 20s. The defense would struggle, but could get a few stops. They were a lot better than that. They were the reason why the Bills had an opportunity to win this game. Straight up, period. We'll start with defensive tackles. Deion Walker, he had 1 tackle for a loss. Man, I really like this kid. I think when he gets a little more consistency, a little more experience, I just picture Hopefully next year, healthy Ed Oliver alongside a second-year Deion Walker that could be special in the middle of the Bills defense. Anyway, I thought he was fantastic. TJ Sanders, nothing in the stat line, but I thought he had some good reps. All right. I got no issue with him. I'm not out on him. Fidarian Mathis had a nice play in the backfield on a play. Larry Ogunjobi wore a uniform and he played in this game. I don't know. But I don't know, defensive tackle. Hey, man, I mean, they didn't get gashed by Saquon Barkley in the middle. I'll say that.
Yeah, that was the conversation I had with one of the folks that I work with is an Eagles fan. He's like, you ready for Saquon this week? He's going to gash that Bills defense. And he didn't. And so I think it's a testament to the defensive line as a whole, but also the weather was a little bit
Sure.
The weather had a hand in that. Yes. So yeah, Saquon under 3.7 yards per carry. Walker was everywhere during that game. I skeeted it out on Blue Sky. Like he keeps flashing over and over again. And like you said, I'm really looking forward to him next to Ed Oliver on a consistent basis. So I gave them an A- for the defensive tackle position. Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Defensive edge. Greg Rizzo had a half a sack. I thought he played well again. By the way, quietly, and he's probably going to finish that way because I don't know if he's going to play at all on Sunday, but he's got 7 sacks right now. It felt like not very long ago he only had 3.
Well, he did because he got 3 in the last 2 weeks.
Exactly. So he's coming on, man. I thought it was another good game for him. Joey Bosa was fine. I thought anyway. I don't got nothing really bad to say about him. AJ Epenesa's just not making plays for me, man. I mean, look, he's not killing the Bills either. Like, there's nothing out there. It's like, oh my God, AJ Epinesa, what are you doing, man? Didn't see that. I'll tell you what, too. Andre Jones Jr., I thought in I think maybe 15, 16 reps, something like that. Thought he made a couple nice plays. I know everybody's saying, well, Matthew Judon is going to be that 4th edge. I don't know that he is. I wouldn't be shocked if Andre Jones Jr. gets that call because he can play special teams. He's been in the system all year for whatever that's worth. I don't know, man. I don't know that you're going to see Judon. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Edge position led by Group was good.
Yeah, Group played well again. Two total quarterback hits. Bosa had a tackle for a loss. They dropped him into coverage at one point, which I thought was hilarious. Seeing him, back in the defensive backfield making.
Yeah, that's not fun to watch.
Epinesa had a quarterback hit and blew up another run play as well. So he had flashes. Like to your point, I still don't. I don't know. I don't want to be like Epinesa's really good. I don't think he's really good, but I think he's a solid starting. Well, let's say like a guy that can take quality reps at the defensive end position and, not embarrass you, especially in this game. So I gave them a B+ overall. I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more getting after Hurts, but a very solid day from the defensive ends. Not too many complaints.
Linebacker, training camp, Matt Milano. I feel like he's back. It's been training camp, Matt Milano, the last handful of weeks. This is the guy we saw at St. John Fisher this summer that looked like he was going to be all the way back. Again, I've said this on the show a couple times throughout the year, and I know you remember when Bobby Babbage said that he thought he was the best player on either side of the ball at training camp. I'm not saying he's the best player on either side of the ball right now, but he's up there. I thought he played great yet again. 7 tackles, half sack, very physical, not missing tackles, is in position, shooting gaps with aggression and speed. I really, really enjoy watching him play right now. And suddenly I'm like, can they get him back on a 1 or 2 year deal this offseason? I don't know that I would hate that, especially if you can get a young guy in the draft to develop behind him. So he was great. I thought Shaq Thompson was really good too. And God, I hate to say it. I don't like to see players get hurt, but this Bills defense is better when Terrell Bernard is not on the football field. Terrell Bernard started this game. I didn't love the way the run defense was early on, even though they got stops early on, but you could just see it. This is a better, more physical defense when Shaq Thompson is in the middle than when Terrell Bernard is. Bernard is hurt. It could be week to week. I wouldn't even be surprised if you've seen the last of Terrell Bernard this year, to be honest with you. It would not surprise me at all. But anyway, Shaq Thompson was really good. Dorian Williams didn't play all that much, but I'll tell you what, had a couple nights. He had one real nice pass rush rep where he just ran somebody over. He was all right, but Matt Milano led this unit. I am, other than the what game was it? The Patriots game. Shaq Thompson was just off that day, and he was terrible in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from that, Shaq Thompson has been rock solid. Matt Milano is back to being the old Matt Milano. The concern is, as you're getting into the playoffs now, they'll probably both rest on Sunday. Wild card round, potentially, if you're going to get on a playoff run, can you trust Matt Milano and Shaq Thompson to both stay healthy for up to 3 or 4 games? That, to me, is the burning question of linebacker, because when they're healthy, those are their 2 best linebackers, and they need to be out there every play, whether Terrell Bernard is healthy or not.
Right. It was a calf strain for Bernard, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I gave them an A for this game. Like you said, Milano and Thompson look really, really good. They both had tackles for a loss. They were, blowing up run support. They were just doing a really good job. So A for the linebackers. You said pretty much everything else that needs to be said.
Yeah, I just went on about linebackers because I was excited. I'm excited to see this version of Matt Milano because I felt foolish proclaiming what I saw over the summer would translate to the regular season, and it didn't for a while. And he got hurt twice too. But now he's healthy and he's easily playing his best football this season at the right time, of course. And again, I really like Shaq Thompson a lot as well. Corner, Benford, fine, didn't get beat. Let me point this out, by the way, folks. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are their wide receivers, and Dallas Goedert's their tight end. Those are some weapons. Whether or not, those are quality weapons. Anyway, Benford, he didn't get cooked. Trey White, 2 targets, 0 catches allowed. Broke up a touchdown to A.J. Brown, which could have been a penalty. They didn't call it, but whatever, man. Statistically, per NGS, he didn't give up any targets. Teron Johnson only gave up 1 catch, and it didn't even count because Devontae Smith ended up, Sean McDermott successfully challenged that catch, and it wasn't a catch. The corner's good for me. What about you?
Yeah, B+ for them. Excuse me. The Trey White one that could have been a pass interference was, 2 guys fighting for the ball. I think I didn't have a huge problem with the non-call there, but I'm sure other people might have. Yeah, Brown 5 for 7 for 68 yards is like a solid stat line, but that dude is so good and stellar, like that 5 for 7, 68 feels like a win. And so I gave the cornerbacks a B+ for this game. Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you too, man. I feel like a broken record talking about Trey White every week. It's like, when is he going to get cooked? When is he going to get cooked? And it's not happening. Safeties. Cole Bishop didn't really make any plays, but I thought he was fine. And the best thing I'll say about Cam Lewis is he didn't kill him. Jordan Poyer concerned me, and Cam Lewis didn't really stick out in a bad way. Safeties?
Yeah, I gave them a B. They didn't have to be great in this game.
Yeah.
It was nice to know that Cam Lewis can do that. Hopefully we get Jordan Poyer back for the playoffs, which, again, never thought I'd say that in August. So there you go.
Here we go with the playoffs looming here in a week. And again, I think for the most part, the important starters are probably going to be done. And boy, oh boy, it's like, well, if Trey White could play well, if Jordan Poyer could play well, if Matt Milano could play well, man, those are some...
They keep doing it every week. They keep doing it.
Yeah, they keep doing it every week, for sure. God, special teams. Michael Badgley, man. I mean, look, I've went on Josh Allen tirades all week long. The Joe Brady defenders, the Josh Allen defenders, whatever. One point that's not wrong when people are saying it, make your extra point. The first one, you win the game with another extra point. That should be routine. It's it. And the kick was his fault. It was really low. It was a very low kick. And you can see that on the angle, too, on the end zone view on
Carter
all
also
22.
Was like 10 feet off the ground. Like, I mean, he was
stretching.
He was face jamming at that thing.
He was, but still was not a good job, and it was a low kick. And you can see it on the end zone view on the all 22. I kind of put that on, I don't know if it's Brandon Beane or Sean McDermott, whoever's going to make the call for who's going to be the kicker that week. They brought in, he stunk in Cleveland. He should have got cut. And if Prater, I don't know if he was precautionary or not, but if he was, that probably wasn't the right move. They brought in 3 kickers. I just feel like they could have did a better job. This guy, it was a problem last week, and they went back to him, and it cost them. Because, again, at the end of the day, all the things we say and bitch about, if he just makes that extra point, that's it. Mitch Wisnowski had 6 punts. He put 3 inside the 20. Shakir did have a 28-yard punt return, which was pleasantly surprising. Usually just lets the ball drop, and it lands where it lands. He made one mistake. should have paid for it, but the guy from New England had his toe on the goal line, so it got to be a touchback. I don't know, man. I can't fathom you giving them a good grade when the extra point was so costly.
It was costly. Ray Davis was steady. Some of the other things that go into the special teams grade. So I ended up giving them a C plus because the extra point was what brought them down. But then everything else was pretty solid. We had, what was it? Oh, sorry, I'm reading. Shipley only had 24.5 yards on his kick average on his kickoff returns.
Yeah, coverage was good.
They also had the penalty on the Bills punt unit where it probably was tripping on the Eagles.
Yeah, against Franklin.
Yeah. And so like instead of them the Philly being pinned inside their own 10, it came out to whatever it was, the 25-yard line. So that was obviously not ideal, but I do think it was just mostly bad luck as opposed to him making a bad play or something like that. So I gave the special teams as a whole a C plus, taking into account everything beyond the extra point that was blocked.
Let's finish with coaching.
Yeah.
I'll let you have it, man. I want to know your thoughts on coaching and
Sure.
your thoughts and agreed.
So Sunday night, my cousins are all in town for Christmas. They come in after Christmas and then stay through New Year's. And so we went out, just the cousins, just like the 7 of us, to a local sports bar. And I was at the bar ordering a drink, and I just hear people complaining about the 2-point conversion call at the end. And I'm like, I'm certainly not going to butt in on their conversation, but we talk about the Rorschach test. And I totally see where people are coming from when they say they should have kicked the extra point to tie and go to overtime. I had Eagles fans at Bleeding Green Nation telling me the same thing. I can't believe your coach was stupid enough to go for 2 there. The Bills defense had clamped down the Eagles offense, and there was no way that the Bills were going to lose that game in overtime. Sure, buddy. I've seen plenty of Bills games in overtime. Okay. So I've had all these different people telling me the Bills should have gone for the extra point there and taken it to overtime. And I cannot disagree with them more. I think that the 2-point conversion was the absolute right call at the end of the game. So if you just take that one thing, I think going for it on 4th down earlier in the game, if you just take those big picture things, I think Sean McDermott absolutely nailed it. And then for him to double down on Monday and explain it the way he did at his press conference, it was absolutely amazing. I want to give Sean McDermott credit when he deserves credit, and his answer on Monday was outstanding. He didn't talk about Josh Allen's like bum foot very much, but he's like, I'll put the game in Josh Allen's hand for a 2-point conversion before I put it in my kicker's foot and hope for overtime. We needed a 4th down hook and ladder play just to score that last touchdown. Like, yeah, the Bills defense was playing great. The Bills offense wasn't really playing great. And so I totally agree with him. We can get 2 yards as opposed to driving it down and scoring on a 3rd straight possession in overtime. So all of that is just the overarching stuff before we even get into like offensive play calling and defensive stuff. Like, I agree with the 2-point conversion call. I agree with going for it in 4th down earlier in the game, the one that they didn't make. So I'll turn it over to you first on just those big picture things before we get into maybe some of the nitty gritty stuff.
Well, I originally did not agree about the 2-point call. However, I wasn't adamant that they shouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
My thought was the defense was playing well.
Yeah.
2 things. Number one, I don't think he straight up didn't trust the kicker to make the extra point, and I don't blame him for that. Number 2, if they would have went for 2, and it would have been one of those fake handoff, Josh Allen rolls out and tries to make the magic happen where he pump fakes and, he improvises and somebody breaks off a route and it doesn't work. I'd be like, come on, man. But it was the right call because they dialed up the perfect play. Maybe Philadelphia expected play action shenanigans, and they didn't get it. Josh Allen dropped back to pass, and Khalil Shakir ran a great route. It was a great call, and he was wide open. It was a bad throw, period. That's it.
And a tie does nothing for them. So, like, they have to score in overtime, and they've had, 2.5 maybe good drives in the entire game?
Right.
So you're saying, well, you've got one shot. It's only 10 minutes in overtime. So you've got one shot, whereas you've punted 6 times in the regulation. Like, I just didn't see where the benefit was of taking it to overtime, even with your defense playing well, because a tie does nothing for you. You have to score.
I agree. And I especially agree because, again, when I didn't like it at first, I didn't know what the play call was going to be. It's a good call if you dial up the right play. Yeah. They dialed up the right play. They didn't execute it. That's it. The end. So I got no issue with that. And I thought Sean McDermott, if we're just talking about Sean right here, he had this team ready to play. He had this team ready to play. I don't put this loss on Sean McDermott. I put 0 of this loss, actually, on Sean McDermott. Maybe less than 0. I got 0 issue with anything involving Sean McDermott for this game.
Yeah, I think that's right. And so, like, the rest of it, I thought the offense took a long time to get their feet under them.
Yeah.
But I do think that a lot of the problems were mistakes by players, not necessarily bad play calls or bad coaching, things like that. Like the offensive line getting beat one-on-one, like that's not on Joe Brady. So the guards in particular, it's not like, he was leaving Myles Garrett on Spencer Brown one-on-one and Brown kept getting cooked by Garrett. Like it was just one-on-one battles that didn't really go Buffalo's way. So I thought the offensive play calling was generally fine. And they eventually figured out stuff that worked. I thought the defense played outstanding. So you got to give Bobby Babich and Sean McDermott a ton of credit on the defensive play calling. So I ended up with a B+ for coaching on this game. But I do think that, again, it's like one of those Rorschach things where if you wanted to give them a lower grade, you can find stuff to do it. And if you wanted to give them a better grade, you could. Like the offense being really sputtery, like the whole game, like you could really hang your hat on that and be like, man, coaching really should have done a better job getting the offense going. But I think as a whole, I think they earned a B+.
I would maybe go a little bit higher.
Okay.
I'm willing to go up to an A-. I'll say this, the offense, you're right. And look, in fairness to Joe Brady, when you run 50 to 60 plays in a week, there's going to be 3 or 4 plays. I don't care what team it is, no matter who it is. You're going to look back and say, what the hell are you doing? That third down bubble screen on 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 9 to Ty Johnson, that pissed me off. That pissed everybody off. I'm sure it did. The 3rd and 1, even though he should have caught the ball, Khalil Shakir, run the ball to James Cook. In fact, when you look at that play on tape, Philadelphia was conceding the first down. I don't know if that's on Josh Allen or Brady, though, because that should have been a run up the middle. There's no way James Cook doesn't get a yard and move the change. It was 3rd and 1. And then they punt on top of that. I was like, all right, well, they're down up a pass play. They don't get it. They're just going to go for it anyway. They didn't. That's the one thing about the game, maybe coaching-wise, it really pissed me off. Outside of that, and James Cook, you like to see him on the field a little bit more. But everything else, I don't put on the coaching. I put on the players. You mentioned it. Josh Allen not finding Brandon Cooks for a walk-in touchdown with Dawson Knox in front of him to escort him. That's on the player. Josh Allen not connecting on what would have been a touchdown, a deep touchdown to Brandon Cooks. That's on the player. The 2-point conversion, that's on the player. The fumble, whether it was a fumble or not, that's on the player. Not checking down, that's on the player. Not blocking good enough for James Cook, that's on the offensive line. I had no issues with 99% of the play calls and their philosophy. They just didn't execute enough in this game. You said it, defense. I mean, what the hell? What are we doing here if we're bitching about the defense? I don't know what more the defense realistically could have done in this football game. Jalen Hurts didn't complete a pass in the second half. They had 17 yards total offense in the second half, and the Bills still couldn't get it done. See, it's Wednesday for people listening anyway, and I'm still kind of getting pissed off, which is funny because I wasn't even pissed off about them losing this game. Let's do this. I'm going to take one more real quick break. I got a couple more questions for you. Highmark Stadium finale coming up on Sunday. Who knows how the Bills are going to play this and what you prefer to see. Be right back. All right, got a couple more minutes left here with Matt Warren from SB Nation. Sunday, Highmark Stadium, home finale, probably, but not for sure, the last game ever. Let me start with kind of a general question for you. What would you like to see on Sunday? What is your ideal scenario in terms of this game against the Jets itself, and in terms of how you would like to see the standings play out? I don't know. Maybe you don't even have a specific preference, but if you do, what is it? But what do you want to see happen on Sunday here?
Sure. I want to see Mitch Trubisky score 3 touchdowns against the Jets. I want to see James Cook win the rushing title just because I think he really wants it. So those are the two things that I'm looking for out of the Bills on Sunday, outside of no injuries. Like, let's just say no injuries and like blanket statement there. As far as like who they end up playing, was that what you were asking? Like who
would you like? Yeah, that's part of it. Like, who would you like to see? Who would you like to see play or not play specifically for this game? Do you care if the Bills win this game? They're not going to play 50, they're not going to play 22 starters going all out to win this game. That much I could guarantee you. I could guarantee you here as we record this Tuesday afternoon, Josh Allen ain't taking more than a snap. I'll bet money on that right now. But who do you want to see play? Do you care if they beat the Jets or not? What's your idea scenario for where the Bills finish in the standings? All that.
Do I care that the Bills lose to the Jets or beat the Jets? Yes, I don't like the Jets. I want the Bills to beat the Jets, but I don't know if it necessarily means a ton to me, to be perfectly honest. The Chargers have already said they're going to be sitting Justin Herbert, and they're playing the Broncos, who are going to go all out to win that 1 seed.
100%.
So it would appear that if Buffalo wins, they'll be probably the 6th seed. And if Buffalo loses, they'll still be the 7th.
If the Buffalo loses, they're the 7th seed, exactly. No matter what.
So I mean, that comes down to like, do you want the Bills to go to New England or do you want the Bills to go to Jacksonville? Because that's the most likely outcome for all that stuff. I don't know. I'd rather see them in Jacksonville because the weather will be better. And we've seen what happens a little bit with Josh Allen in the rain and stuff in the last few weeks, but I really don't think it matters much. And so for me, the only real thing I care about is people being healthy going into the playoffs, because I don't think that facing the Patriots or the Jaguars is going to matter too much.
We have breaking news late in this podcast. It'll be out there by the time people listen to this. It involves the New England Patriots. And I'm seeing this from multiple reports, so it's legit. Breaking: Patriots star wide receiver Stephon Diggs faces strangulation and assault charges. He's charged with felony strangulation or suffocation and misdemeanor assault and battery charges stemming from an incident on Tuesday, December 2nd. That potentially... I mean, look, man, taking the human element, of course, out of this, because that's the most important thing. Football-wise, that could be a devastating blow to the New England Patriots right now. If something happens where Stephon Diggs, I don't want to get that far ahead. Just saying. That's and it's legit, and it's all over Twitter right now. Again, we're recording this around 12:30 p.m. That's big. Let's circle back. It's kind of hard to even think about what we were just talking about. Getting back to the Bills game. I don't know. I might have changed my mind in the last 30 seconds I thought I had a preference, and I don't know. Well, I kind of was leaning that way anyway. Let me say this about the Jets, Matt. If they lose this game, they're guaranteed. They're locked into the 3rd pick and no worse. And watching them last week in their home finale, where I thought they would at least provide some resistance to the Patriots, they just lay down. It looks like they quit on Aaron Glenn. I think the Bills' backups absolutely could beat the Jets. I don't even know how many of them are even starters right now. Most of their good players already are out anyway. So I think even if the Bills sit their starters, they can win this game. I am not playing anybody other than, you can't sit every starter. Like, for an example, on the offensive line, they're not going to have 10 guys active. So probably both guards start. I'm not playing either tackle. Cook, it depends on how many yards he needs. Josh ain't playing. Shakir's not playing. Kincaid's not playing. Groot's not playing. Milano's not playing. Shaq Thompson's not playing. Benford's not playing. Bishop's not playing. I don't know, though. But again, it's not quite like preseason because you don't got 90 guys. You know what I mean? You got to have some starters. And if a backup gets nicked, a starter's got to go out there. So... there's going to be some guys like Savage and Cam Lewis that are going to be tired at the end of this football game. I don't have an idea scenario because, like I said at the beginning, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills lose next week, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills go to the Super Bowl. I kind of was leaning towards wanting to lose this game and be in the 7 because I feel like I'd rather go to New England than Jacksonville, just because it's the 3rd time playing this team. You know everything about them. Drake May's great, just like Josh Allen's great. If you get past Drake May, I don't know that the Patriots are necessarily a great team. You can say the same thing about the Bills with Josh Allen, too. I just feel like it comes down to execution, where Jacksonville's got weapons and you don't know a lot about them. You don't know what you're going to get. Maybe the weather could be a factor if it's down in Florida. So I was kind of preferring being the 7 and being New England. But I don't know. If this Stephon Diggs turns out to be something and he's not playing, I definitely would prefer that. But I don't really have a strong preference right now. Is that weird?
Yeah, I don't think Diggs is probably going to miss time. This is a knee-jerk reaction. Obviously, I haven't read anything about it, but sure. Especially if it's, almost 3 weeks or almost 4 weeks
4
old.
weeks.
Yeah, at this time, it feels like he's not going to miss time, and they're going to wait until after the season to figure it all out. So that's just a guess on my part. We'll see.
Well, the Patriots, for what it's worth, they're saying that they support him, that he categorically denies the accusation. So you're right. It's not like he's going to get suspended in 3 games and not play next week. But who knows? I mean, maybe that weighs on them. I don't know. But anyway, that's kind of my preference. Because you're also playing with fire. If the Bills win this game, the Chargers are going to lose. Here's something that we haven't really thought a lot about real quick. Houston, they need Jacksonville to lose at home against Tennessee. That ain't going to happen. Maybe Houston doesn't play their starters against the Colts. They just can see it, or maybe they start out and Jacksonville's up 21-0 on Tennessee and the starters come out. Houston could lose to Tennessee with a bunch of backups. So if the Bills beat the Jets and Houston loses with their backups to the Colts and the Chargers lose to Denver, the Bills are the 5. That could be great if Pittsburgh can win at home. But if Pittsburgh loses because they gagged last week, I don't know that I'm excited about going to Baltimore, even though Lamar Jackson has been less than MVP caliber this year. So I really don't have a preference. I'm just kind of like in wait and see mode, which is not the way I usually am. I usually have a take about everything.
Yeah, with you. I wouldn't want to go to Baltimore to play the Ravens either. We've seen how dangerous they can be. And we're just kind of waiting for them to make mistakes. Whereas I think they can beat every other team in the AFC playoff picture right now, as opposed to wait for them to lose. You know what I mean?
Two more quick questions here. So I want to be clear though. I would slightly, and I mean slightly, prefer to go to New England. But if you go to New England, there's no chance that you're going to have a home game because you're the 7 seed.
Yep.
But anyway, I would slightly prefer that. But my prediction is that the Bills do win the game and Houston wins and that they're the 6 and that they go to Jacksonville. That's my prediction for the first round. Give me, whether it's the AFC or the NFC, I want you to give me, and I'm putting you on the spot. We haven't talked about this. Give me a hot take or bold prediction. It doesn't even have anything to do with the Bills, but give me something. Take a look at the playoffs. Give me a bold prediction for something in the wild card round, because I got one specifically for you.
In the wild card round, okay, because I was going to give you some 40 Seattle Seahawks take, but they're probably still going to be the 1 seed, so they won't be playing in the wild card round. But I do think that Sam Darnold and the Seahawks, something's going to happen with them that's going to be incredibly fun to watch from afar. If you're not a Seahawks fan, I just think it's going to be just some weird thing happens to the Seahawks, but not necessarily in the wild card round. I don't know if I have a wild card take, just because
I got one.
When you look at the games that are going to be played next weekend, all of them, there's no really great team in the NFL right now. And
Agreed.
So there's so much randomness that can happen. What would surprise you in the wild card round? The Panthers beating the 49ers would probably be pretty surprising, but they've done that all season. The Panthers have just come in and beat teams that they shouldn't have done. The Steelers beating the Texans, would that be a surprise? No, not really. So I don't have a hot take. I'm looking forward to yours.
I got one. And again, this is predicated on the Bills winning and being the 6th seed. All right. My take, and it's not a Bills take, is I think the Chargers are going to be the 7, and I think they're going to go into New England, and I think they're going to knock off the 2. I think they're going to beat the Patriots. The 7 Chargers, we're going to be rested this week. They're going to go to New England, and they're going to knock them off. I don't know how if the Bills could get past Jacksonville, which again, no given, but we'll see how that ends up playing out. But I could see the Chargers going to New England and beating them.
I can see anybody going to New England and beating them. That's the thing.
I can see New England beating anybody too.
They beat the Bills once. Who else have they beaten? They've beaten a lot of backups. They played a 4th place schedule. If this is Drake May's first time, like that, we always talk about players going from the preseason to the regular season and seeing the jump in speed, going from the regular season to the postseason. We see the jump in speed again, and so I just don't trust the Patriots to actually win a playoff game. I don't care who. Los Angeles has been there before. They at least know the speed and the tempo. I think they're really good coaching, really good players on offense. That's not a hot take to me. I think anybody that goes to New England should be favored over the Patriots.
Fair enough. All right, last question for you real quick. I don't have one because to be honest with you, man, I haven't really been a part of tailgating and going to Bills games. It's just not my thing, and it never really has been. It was when I covered a team, like I worked in the media, I used to go cover the team for a few years, but as a fan, I didn't really party it up. I don't have a lot of specific Highmark Stadium fun memories. I mean, I certainly got hammered a few times for sure, but do you have one? And if you don't, that's fine. But do you have like any specific, as the stadium's getting ready to close down now, do you have like a specific favorite Highmark Stadium like memory, whether it's from a game or a tailgate or anything like that?
Sure, I've got a couple. There's it was the worst game I've ever seen in person. It was the Browns versus the Bills, 6-3.
Oh.
Roscoe Parrish fumble.
Oh, you were at that game?
Yeah, I was at that game. It was the one game that year we went to. Early October is typically when we went to our tailgates. So it wasn't the game necessarily. It wasn't even the tailgate, but it was, we went to the Big Tree after, met Andre Reed, Lee Evans, a whole bunch of Bills players. That was pretty cool. As far as games go, again, it was a loss, but the Monday Night Football game on, it was Columbus Day against the Dallas Cowboys, where the Bills jumped out to that big lead. Oh my God.
Dallas turned the ball over like 5 times and still won that game.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone, literally everyone around me is like, oh man, it's so cool that the Bills won this game. And I'm like, no, they're going to give up this onside kick. And that's exactly what happened. Anyway, it was a great memory. A great game. I was sad the Bills lost it, but it was a really fun game to go to. As far as memorable moments go, I was there for the Kevin Everett injury, and that was I've never heard that many people be so quiet so quickly. It was raining that day, so I remember I ruined my shoes in the tailgate because the whole lot was just mud. But that's a memorable moment. Obviously not a great moment. It's a great moment in medical history, let's say. But a really tragic moment in Bills history to be there for that Kevin Everett hit. So I've got lots of them. The Jay-Z and Beyonce concert we went to, where New Era had us in the New Era box. That was really cool.
Damn.
So that was, my wife, I was a hero for a couple days. So that was nice. But so I do have some good memories. Not that I go to a ton of games or a ton of events at Highmark Stadium, but those are some really cool ones.
Cool stuff, except for the Kevin Everett thing. But that was memorable. That was for damn sure. All right, let's leave everything here. Again, I want to wish, and I'm sure Matt does too, a happy New Year to everybody. We thank you so much for continuing to lock in and to watch us and to listen to us. Make sure you're following Matt on the socials, the Blue Sky, the Twitter X at Matt Rich Warren, SB Nation, more specifically, of course, Buffalo Rumblings. And by the way, big shout out to a Buffalo Rumblings contributor, Sarah Larson. So the stadium closes on Sunday. This is going to be 99 games in a row where this woman, I'm going to say girl, this woman, my friend, your friend, Sarah Larson, has been to 99 consecutive games. That's impressive no matter where you live. But the fact that half the games, like if she lived here in Buffalo, half the games, it's like, all right, well, half the games, she goes all the road games too. Cool. Every game except for the Miami game at Hard Rock Stadium is a road game for her. She lives in Florida, not far from Miami. She travels to Buffalo for every home game, all the road games. She's going to be at 99 this Sunday against the Jets. God willing, of course, 100 coming up. But the thing is, where's it going to be? Where's it going to be, Matt? Where is Sarah Larson going to for her 100th game next week? You're going to get the last word here.
She gets to drive to Jacksonville,
which is not too far from her. All right, so she don't have to fly. She can drive. All right, Matt thinks the Bills are going to open up against Jacksonville. So for Matt Warren, I'm Patrick. Thank you so much. Like I said, Happy New Year, and I will have a New Year's edition of Talking Buffalo coming up for you guys tomorrow.